Alright, welcome to TVP Seminar on the 11th of August 2013. Alright, today we're going to stream Jacque's interview on Russia Today, which was a pretty good one. And we also have a Rocket Hub crowdfunding test, and I'll go over some details with that. But anyways, welcome to TVP Seminar, and we are live. We're live streaming now, and the channel was given capabilities 2 weeks ago, and we're still working out some bugs. A lot of audio issues, video issues, those types of things, and streaming issues, but working them out, and overall should be able to provide even a higher quality show well into the future. And that kind of leads me into my first point before I get started with the things, and that is we need help. I've created this channel, kept it going for well over a year now, and we moved the seminars here, obviously. We have live stream capabilities. There's over 5,000 subscribers. About a quarter of them, 1 in 4 of them, actually watch the entire seminar, so that's 1 hour worth of content. And that's actually 25% return rate on subscribers to actual people watching or participating or being involved in the content. And that's actually a really good number compared to other social interfaces. So generally, with our quality of content not being the highest, and it's also an hour of sometimes some might say a boring lecture or just discussions, that many people watching, we have 1,000 to 2,000 views each week, is actually a very high number. It's really promising. So as we improve in quality, entertainment, educational aspects, and just a lot more visuals, then I think that'll help out a lot and retain a lot more people watching, and overall education will go higher. But again, need help doing all this. Need writers, need co-hosts, need editors, producers, international correspondents, and just more overall help. Writers. I have 4 different formats I want to do for this show. The seminars with Jacque and Roxanne come on. Unfortunately, they were not able to come on this week. I would like to continue those. The POC Q&As, where people will ask questions to the Google moderator and the POCs answer them. It gives practice to the POCs. It gives relevant responses to the people asking those questions, so that's a great show. The third format of a show I'd like to work on is a specific educational show. And as I'm listing these, if any of them spark your interest, please contact me. Educational show, this would be behaviorism, it'll be scaling, perspective, accurate history. It'll be a 30 to 45 minute actual video on those subjects. And I think those are the tools necessary for people to comprehend the things we're talking about. Excuse me. And the last type of show I'm interested in creating is a news show. And let me show you something real quick. It will be a news broadcast studio similar to this. I have the abilities to put in videos. It's a 3D virtual set. You basically use green screen over everything, and we can get a really professional looking broadcast going. Fairly easy and fairly relatively low cost as far as money is concerned. So anyway, those are some ideas. Those 4 formats of the show. If you're interested in any of those aspects, whether it be helping write the format, writing scripts for each one of those shows, doing research for the educational aspects, or just shows in particular, please contact me. The first option for that is emailing admin, ADMIN, at thevenusproject.com, and that email should get forwarded to me, and then I will get in contact with you. But the best way to get in contact with me is just directly find me on Skype, and my name in Skype is Sean, SHAWN, Hodgins, HODGINS, the number 1. And so contact me there. Definitely need some editors if you have After Effects experience, editing any type of video codec, which would be MP4, .mov, MOV, or WMV. Any of these codecs will work with YouTube, and if you're familiar with other interfaces such as Vimeo, then that's also helpful for me. Anyway, I'll stop with my rant about that. Anyway, we need help. I have way too many buttons to push, way too many things to do on my own, and we need to upgrade all this stuff, and I can't grow another arm or 2 arms or 3 arms, so need some other people. Alright, I'm going to lead into the next thing is the RT interview that Jacque went on Russia Today, and it's a pretty good interview, so let's start that up.
And I first asked him what drives this system of greed and war, and why haven't political and social institutions evolved along with technology?
Scarcity, or fear of scarcity. So it makes people want to grab as much territory as they can, as much arable land as they can, as much water as they can. So the needs of people have to do with their behavior. The more scarcity, the more aberrant behavior.
What does the Venus Project propose to redesign society in a way that is possible today?
It's bringing all the nations together as one nation and agree to take care of the earth and everything on the earth, to restore nature as near a natural condition as possible. That goes no dumping of toxic materials into rivers or the oceans.
Can you break down some of the specifics about the transportation and energy capabilities in said society?
I would say the energy capabilities would be based on geothermal energy, the natural heat of the earth. When you rely on solar, if there's clouds in the way, you don't get as much electric generated. But geothermal energy is the natural fumaroles under the ocean and on the land. And we can tap those, make steam, and the steam can turn the turbines and generate power continuously without worrying about whether the sun's out or not.
And what about transportation?
Transportation would be by monorail. In other words, about 30 feet off the ground, so it doesn't have to stop at every corner.
I thought that something was really interesting in one of your presentations talking about sea cities. Can you describe what those would look like?
The city is circular. It looks like a series of rings emanating out from a central dome. The central dome will have the socially integrated computer, which has its tentacles way out into the agricultural belt and deep into the soil. So if the water table drops, that unit can pump water out there, whereas man has to take too much time to decipher the conditions.
Jacque, if all of these amazing technologies exist today, what is prohibiting them from flourishing right now?
The established institutions. Once you've invested 10 million in oil platforms, you don't want the electric car. You don't want anything that'll interfere with your income. So we become self-centered that way.
Is there anywhere in the world that's practicing a society such as the one that you're proposing right now?
I would say that 90% of the societies are corrupted by scarcity. No, I can't say there's any decent society in the world. Maybe Iceland might be okay.
You've said that all world systems thus far, communism, socialism, fascism, and free market enterprise have all failed to eliminate racism, elitism, and scarcity.
Yeah.
Can you explain how your vision would eliminate those things?
I'll try. First of all, and money corrupts people in all areas. You can pay off judges, senators, politicians with the use of money. We must outgrow the need for money and go on to a resource-based economy where we make things available to people, just like the public library. If you have difficulty understanding that, you can check out any book in the library without paying payments of any kind or going into debt of any kind. That isn't true of the whole of society. The society generates debt and obligations which people cannot fulfill.
Jacque, you've said that greed and endless war are based on aberrant behavior, based on social conditioning alone. Would you say that the need for competition, for reward, is also based on our societal conditions?
Yes.
And that it's not innate within human nature?
No, there's no such thing as human nature. Human nature or human behavior is shaped by culture. After all, what makes a person a patriot? The Nazis were just as patriotic as the Americans. Propaganda. makes them all alike. They hate Americans, and we hate the Germans before the war. And the Japanese use the same technique of propaganda to get them to want to do away with the Americans. It's all environmentally determined. Every word you use, you learn. Your mother said cup, table, light, papa, mama. Every word you use and all the facial expressions come from movies, books that you read, role models that you look up to. And so there seems to be nothing that humans can say that doesn't reflect their culture. When you are brought up in the South and you hear all day long the same thing, I'm gonna get me a and I'm gonna hang him up from a tree. That isn't inborn, that's learned in the South. Southern areas of the South, uneducated regions of the South. Where do you think prejudice comes from? It isn't inborn. Children will play with anybody. Afro-Americans, Chinese, Japanese, Filipinos, until mother says, you're a Lutheran, you don't play with that Catholic. She means well, but she doesn't understand what she's doing.
Jacque, I commend you for actually presenting solutions to the multitude of problems that we face in the world, the scarcity, all the problems that we're facing. It seems really overwhelming, and I think it's amazing that you've actually produced something that could be a solution. However, how can we ensure that putting full trust in one concentrated planning system of society will work and not become corrupted? Because I'm just worried that we're not there yet, and that I feel like that's how socialism's failed in the past.
If you do away with scarcity, number one, and you do away with money and make things available like a public library, next door to the public library, we have a camera center where anyone can go in and check out a camera. Next door to the camera center, there's musical instruments. You can check out a violin, a saxophone, just like the public library. No payments of any kind. And we have all those buildings around the central building. And that makes it impossible for people to take bribes or to break into your house and steal anything. If you make goods and services available to people, they do not steal. There's no need for it.
We need to reinvent our value system in order to share the resources of this planet. How much would you say that language and mental trappings of these social orders that have failed in the past trap us, prevent us from being able to progress with revolutionary ideas?
Well, our language was designed hundreds of years ago, and it cannot communicate with people. We know that because we have Democrats, Republicans, Socialists, Lutherans, Catholics, and language is a terrible thing. It's never been invented so that people can draw the same conclusions. You see, language is subject to interpretation. When you read the Bible, somebody says, this is what Jesus meant, and another person, oh no, he meant something else. And the third person says, you're both wrong, this is what he meant. That's why you have the Lutheran, the Seventh-day Adventists, the Catholics, only because the Bible is subject to interpretation. And our language is terrible because it's subject to interpretation. But there is a language that is not subject to interpretation, and that's the language used by engineers. When they talk to each other, they don't say, believe me, this is the strongest material. They give you the specifications of what's in that metal, how much torsion load it can take, how much tension, how much compression. So engineers, when they talk to each other, they don't say, I think he means this, or I think he means that. When you talk to normal people, they interpret it in relation to their background. That's a major problem.
Yes, math and science and these things are not really open for interpretation. It's mind-blowing to see the technologies that do exist, that are available to us right now. Jacque Fresco, thank you so much for coming on, explaining a little bit more about the Venus Project. Everyone check it out.
All right, so there you have the interview. It was pretty well done. The host did very well with the questioning, and obviously Jacque did very well with answering a lot of the questions. Unfortunately, it was only 10 minutes, so it's really hard to get these ideas and concepts across and to teach people or assist or help them understand these concepts. It takes much longer than just 10 minutes. So anyway, that's why we're here doing this. That's why we're making the Venus Project is making documentaries. There's other people making specific documentaries about Jacque's life and the Venus Project and a resource-based economy in general. And that is one of the main reasons and driving forces for the major motion picture. The fact that it does take a while to get this information coherently across to an audience, much more than 10 minutes. But anyway, it's definitely good. It's good to get that out in front of people, and I will post that full interview on TVP Education. I believe it's already on the Venus Project Media on Joel's channel. That is the Venus Project channel. Excuse me. All right, so lastly, what else do I have? Oh yeah, the last thing I want to cover is the crowdfunding project, and it is this. It is Rocket Hub. Wow. So far, $75 out of $200 goal has been raised, which is good. And this is for the Venus Project Interactive Timeline. And let me play you the video for it real quick. This is a test crowdfunding project to fund the full version of Timeline 3D and web hosting of the interactive timeline, which was featured during the Venus Project seminar Roadmap 1 on the 20th of July 2013. Please donate or pass this along to your social networks like Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. Thank you. Alright, so yeah, that was, I don't know where I left my audio off, but that's Timeline 3D. And what we want to do is fill that thing full of data. I went to the Venus Project 2 days ago and demonstrated it for Roxanne and spoke about some of the aspects with Jacque. And I have a lot more details. We want to fill it up with data, make it as accurate as we possibly can. The whole thing is from here on to the future, projection and guesses based on data, limited data that is. But I can fill out some aspects, give some ideas, give some perspective on the roadmap of what to do next, and then I can also fill in the previous time, which would be 1980 and before, and what led up to the Venus Project coming to be, and the steps between 1980 and now, and the steps between now and the major motion picture. So I think it's a really good tool. I think it's necessary. It's going to be very helpful for people, especially when you yourself can go ahead and scroll through it. But that's it. Pass that along. The link again is down below this video, and pass it along through your social networks. Let's see if we can get this thing funded. It's a very small price point, and again, more of a test and feeling out thing to see if how this thing will go. That's all I have for this week. While I was at the Venus Project, I did do a bit of a discussion and video interview with Jacque and Roxanne, but it's going to take some more editing, so I might be able to do it next week. And also have Jacque and Roxanne themselves on. We will always, each week, we're trying to get them on but it's dependent on their availability. If they have something to do that day, they have a lot of people that come there for different reasons. And it also depends on the energy of Jacque. You know, he is 97, so we try to not bug him too much about stuff. So again, I will keep trying to get them on, and thank you guys for watching. Pass this along through your social networks. Don't let you be the only one that sees this. Thanks. Bye-bye.